Every time I hear that again.
I know. What's up, Sleep?
No, we're not doing that. Let's get to business.
Bloopers. What's up, Sleep family? Welcome back to another video. We're gonna be doing our series, and today we're gonna be discussing interracial couples.
Yes, and I feel like just obviously modern day, 2024, we do see a lot of more interracial couples just in public anywhere you go. And obviously we are an interracial couple if you guys haven't noticed. But
it's pretty obvious, right?
So we're going to touch on it a little bit today, some of the things that come with it. First question I kind of want to ask you actually is, what are the struggles that comes with being in a interracial couple, if any?
I wouldn't necessarily say there's really any struggles because I feel like we bounce off very well from each other. I think Malik and I like the fact that, and I guess I'm speaking for myself, but I can appreciate the fact that Malik has no idea what my culture is and I have no idea what his culture is. So I just like to learn new things. So I think it's really cool not knowing how he grew up. Like, there's different cultural backgrounds. So obviously learning about his cultural background and he's learning about mine, it's just a cool thing to see. I will say here and there I have gotten some looks just with being with Malik. Whether it's good or bad, honestly, it doesn't really do anything to me. It doesn't really affect me. But yeah, I don't necessarily say that there's really a struggle. That's just me speaking personally. I feel like you're very well accepted in my family. I don't think my family has ever made you feel uncomfortable or anything like that. If anything, I feel like my family really celebrates him. He's literally the only black man in my family. I do have other family members that are interracial themselves, dating either white women or, you know, vice versa, or white men, yeah. But personally, me, I'm glad that my family is accepting of him. They're accepting of his family as well. Honestly, me, I think interracial couples, like, I just think it's a beautiful thing.
To touch on Steph said, I think you hit the hammer on the head, or hammer on the nail, however you want to put it. But just, I love to learn more about the Mexican culture, and obviously if you look at me, it looks like, oh, he's black, but I'm West Indian, and we have cultures that's very similar to each other.
Yeah, very similar, which
but
is cool.
Very different at the same time. And I would say like one struggle would be she's the first girl who spoke another language. So like for me, it's more of, okay, I gotta learn.
Yes.
Something I want to do, something I want to learn, something I want to get better at. So I'm okay with that, and I'm up for that challenge. But other than that, she's accepted in my family, I'm accepted into her family, and I personally don't feel no like looks or anything when I go to like the Mexican grocery store or anything. But then
really?
again,
I can feel it.
I don't really care. So that's probably why.
I think Malik and I honestly really don't care because like our relationship is our relationship, and everybody else's opinions, comments, concerns, they don't really get to us anyway.
Yeah, I got tunnel vision, so
yeah.
I try to be nice to whoever. That's just how my parents raised me, and yeah, I don't really care. She might notice it, and that's funny because I feel like I'm very aware. But like when it comes to that, I don't care. Yeah.
I think when we first started dating, we went into like this Mexican restaurant. I don't know what we went to go get there.
Tacos.
Probably, yeah. And I could just feel like the men in there looking at Malik a certain way, and it did, I think in the beginning of our relationship, make me feel some type of way. And I did think about like there is a language barrier between Malik and my family, some of them, but I think for the most part I was very worried when Malik first came around. And the first time my family actually met Malik was for Easter. Easter, and my aunt from Mexico and her family were here, and for me it was the first time I had ever brought somebody that did not speak Spanish into my family. And back then Malik and I were playing I was playing the he's my friend type of card. Yes, you were.
No.
Yeah, you were. You didn't introduce me to your mom as your girlfriend.
No, but this is a lady I'm talking to. I ain't saying
whatever.
Friend. Like, you know.
Anyway, he was my friend back then. But yeah, I think I was a little nervous But my family was like very welcoming. My cousins already had met him because they had played basketball a couple of times, so that was fine. My mom and my aunt were actually like, well, they looked really handsome that day. And my aunt was like, wow, he's really handsome. And I was like, yeah, he is.
I ain't got my cut right now, so don't judge me, all right? And I was in shape, so don't judge me.
Oh my God, he looks so good. I'm going to insert a picture here.
How you gonna say he did? Damn, that's crazy. No, it's all good. We working. We on our way back. It's all good.
I still find him very attractive. Anyway, but yeah, I was definitely nervous, but like I said, my family was very accepting of him, so that was really nice. And I'm so appreciative of my family because they do try. Even though like some of them will speak Spanish to him and they don't slow it down, for the most part, Malik can understand a lot of things. He like grasps onto certain words and he can kind of make out what we're talking about, so that's nice.
But some of them, Theo Nico, not that's one of my favorites. But they'll just like talk like normal, and I'm just like, I caught like 2 words.
Especially like I feel like people from Sinaloa, like when they speak, like they're like, you know, it's like cursive, like as if they were singing. So
yeah, so it's fine though. I'm learning. And I'm learning at my pace. No one can speed me up. That's the greatest part about it. But which actually falls into my next question: what are the struggles being with a Spanish-speaking Hispanic? Just because obviously there are Mexican Americans, Puerto Rican Americans, whatever the case may be,
that don't speak their native language,
Spanish at all, like somehow lost in their generation, and that is, like I said, a tough thing. But like you have her here, but sometimes she be all over the place. I'm like, can you come here to translate? But I feel like struggles, it's just like, it's how you look at it. If you don't want to learn and you don't want to adapt with that person, you're not going to.
Yeah, I think so too. I think for the most part though, like Malik is like really good. Even if I'm not around, he'll still make conversation with my family members that only speak Spanish. And some of my family members will say certain words in English and like he says certain words in Spanish. So they kind of like just meet in the middle, you know, they kind of like marinate words around and they kind of just, half of the time I see him speaking to my family, they're all cracking up. So I don't know what the hell they be talking about.
Like, it's just trying, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, if they're trying, that's a beautiful thing too. They're showing me that they're trying, I'm trying. Eventually it's gonna get to where I'm fluent. Y'all gonna see me talking in Spanish.
And one thing I appreciate about Malik also, when, for example, like my cousin's wedding was back in December, the entire time, like the only music that was playing at the wedding was literally just pure banda. And Malik was all up in there dancing, doing his thing, cracking up. He till this day is like, oh my God, I had so much fun.
Yeah.
So he's never like the person that's like sitting down because they're not playing certain music or anything like that. Malik will get up, he'll start dancing. So I think that's one thing that my family really appreciates about him, is that he is, you know, he's with like,
outgoing?
He's very outgoing, he likes to dance, he likes to shoot the shit, like very much like that. So they honestly like really gravitate towards him. And yeah, that's like honestly my first time ever being able to experience something like that is with him. So it's really nice.
Wait till I start talking that talk in Spanish.
Like, I also want to touch based on your ethnicity. So he is West Indian, he is Guyanese, so they do speak a completely different language, but the thing about this, it's like broken English. Yeah. So there's certain things that I can make out of the conversation that they're having, and I just think it's really cool. Like Malik's dad, he's literally like Rastafarian, and it's just like super cool. It's very different from what I grew up with.
You know?
I will say that I'm super into like reggae music, dance hall music.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's stuff that I've liked, but now being with somebody that, you know, comes from that cultural background is actually really cool.
Yeah, because merengue is reggae. Right?
In a way, like they take certain like, you know, Afro beats and certain things like that. A lot of music is like mixed in with Afro beats as it is anyway. So that's like the cool thing about it. I really like Afro beats and I like all that type of music, so.
Yeah, so we just be vibing out.
Yeah, anything I can dance to, like move my body to, we're good.
I swear, this is where the Mexicans be, right here. This is their spot. With that being said, and it's what we're talking about, do you feel accepted by I don't like asking this because it doesn't really matter, but I guess you can still ask it. Do you feel accepted by the Black community?
For the most part, yes. I've never actually had a problem. I've had Black friends before. Actually, like,
Yeah, I feel like it's pretty normal, at least where we live.
Yeah, it's pretty normalized. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially out here in Vegas, like, it's really rare when you come across certain people that were born and raised here. That's gonna be our daughter. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I know. So majority of everybody tends to, just come to Vegas and they kind of just settle
it's like
here.
a melting pot.
Yeah. So you have like a lot of different people with like different cultures. I remember it was funny because the first time that I moved into like, what would you consider Henderson? Like a
suburb.
Like a suburbs. Yeah. Like I only had like Mexican friends. For me, it was like somewhat of a cultural shock in a sense when we moved to Henderson, and like majority of like the girls that I knew before I started at my middle school were white. Mm-hmm. So I remember I made my first 2 white friends and they were twins, and I always tell you about them. Yeah. And then it was like very different for me. So
it's funny that you mentioned that because for me, just like growing up in New York, I bounced around like a lot in New York, different areas. Moved to Vegas, like she said, is very diverse. So I've always had relations like platonically and like relationship with like different races. But with Steph, she was the first one who I knew spoke a different language. So when I was like, oh, when it came about, like, can this potentially be serious? I always thought that she wouldn't want a Black guy because she also spoke Spanish, which I also knew, all right, someone in her family is not going to speak English because just from like past experience, like it's either you keep it going in the generations or it breaks off somewhere.
Yeah.
So I always knew like how well she spoke Spanish. Like someone's gonna not speak English, and I was like, dang, is this gonna affect it or whatever the case may be? But
I've always
played out nice.
Like, I wouldn't say I'm like the black sheep of my family, but I've definitely like rebellious. Always went with the thing that was not like
the norm.
Yeah. A lot of my family still dates within their race, and that's completely fine. And I mean, prior to Malik, I also dated within my race, but like, I've always been very, very attracted to Black men, I will say.
Me.
I've always been very attracted to Malik.
No, I'm just kidding.
I feel like a lot of girls are though. Like Black men are just, they're very desired. And that's another topic that we'll talk about.
Me.
Yes, you baby.
Okay.
I love seeing interracial couples. Like,
I just love to see that we're open.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to be interracial. That's not what the video's made for. I just like to see that.
The diversity of it.
Yeah.
I think the diversity of it is really cool.
I love to see that we have choices.
Yeah.
So to say.
And mixed babies. Oh, they're so cute.
We're not going to get into that.
My daughter, I love her. I love her little face. My family is like crazy about my daughter because she's like, she's a Mexican Guyanese baby. She has curly hair. She's like a little bit darker than I am. Like, she's just so cute. I love her.
Especially with pool days, she gets dark.
She gets dark. And I remember that was one thing that I was super ashamed of growing up. Like, I feel like my family and just like everybody has always made fun of my skin complexion. And it's just because I am I wouldn't even say I'm like super, super dark. I can get dark. But I remember like I would hide from the sun. Like, I would literally, like, avoid being in the sun so I wouldn't get darker. And that's something that I'm so ashamed about because I love my skin color. Like, girls pay money to look like this.
Facts.
And I don't. I'm tan all year long.
It's okay, though, because I feel like when I grew up, too, and I lived in, like, an all-white town, predominantly all-white town, and, like, on Black people, like, your elbows and knees are darker, and, like...
It's just, like, hyperpigmentation. It's something normal, and I feel
like... they'll call it out and, like, get a little ashamed by it, but now I'm older, it's like... Whatever.
I love your skin.
Don't do that.
You're a beautiful man.
Don't do that.
Do you feel accepted by the Mexican community,
definitely.
Hispanic community,
Even if they might not accept me, I still feel accepted.
Yeah.
And if not, I'm gonna kick the door down and get accepted.
I just feel like it's something Malik and I have never really cared about. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there is someone out there who's probably feeling another race, or another race is feeling this person, but they don't know because of their family, which is definitely a case. We've
Yeah.
had friends where that was the case. What advice would you give to them?
I would just say to like block off all that extra noise. Like it's literally just background noise. Like it doesn't really matter. If you are in an interracial relationship with somebody and your family's not accepting of that person, I think like who cares? Your family's not the one dating them. You know, you are. As long as that person is being respectful, makes you happy, loves you, and is honest with you, why does it matter what anybody else has to say? You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, it's your relationship, it's your life. And that's one thing that I noticed that a lot of people tend to live their life for their family. And that's not a good thing whatsoever. I always told my family, I'm going to make myself happy first. And I know it sounds selfish,
But you need to be.
but you need to. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to do something to make my mom happy. At the end of the day, like it's my life and I'm gonna live it the way that I wanna live it. So that's my advice to you. Like I would just say if you are in a great, healthy relationship, then that is okay if your family isn't accepting. You know, eventually they will come around. They will love the fact that you're happy, that this person treats you right, and they'll eventually love the person that you're with as well too.
Hello. No, definitely. And just to piggyback off that, wrap it up a little bit, my advice to that person will be same as her. My main thing will be date first. Go on dates, have your own little relationship with them. You don't want to bring anyone to your family if they're not something serious. One thing my mom always tells me is, this is your family now. Of course, you have your family that you grew up with, but my mom respects this is your family now. Mm-hmm. So you have to put that as priority. Handle that, make sure that you guys are good. So, and like she said, your family will come around to it. But comment down below how you guys felt about this episode. Advice, opinions on interracial couples. If you guys have anything you guys want us to answer, we'll love to.
Also, let's address the elephant in the room. I know you guys see a different background.
Yeah, so constantly try to intentionally improve for you guys and be consistent. Like the video, comment like I said, and then of course turn on the bell notifications so you guys can see anytime we post. But other than that,
I think that's all for today.
Appreciate y'all for always tuning in.
I hate when he does that.